Saturday or is it on a Sunday? Is the Sabbath a Saturday or is it on a Sunday? Saturday or is it on a Sunday? Is the Sabbath a Saturday or is it on a Sunday?
All right, peace. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, give honor and praise to the God of Babylonian, Rushlock and Yaakov. Give a double honor to 7130 South Chicago that taught me this truth. Give a double honor to all the brothers and sisters that the Creator has awoken in these last days. With that being said, peace and shalom. All right, brothers and sisters, I want to go into a video that was established by this brother called himself the Smart Christian, right? And he's teaching today basically are they supposed to worship on Saturday or Sunday? So with no further ado, we're going to be listening to a video by this brother, and then we're going to expound on it.
Hey, Smart Christians, welcome back. And a recent question was, what day is the Sabbath actually? Of course, now in the church, we tend to go to church on Sunday, and so some will say or assume that maybe that Sunday is now the new Sabbath. Well, let's go back in the scriptures and let's look and see if that is actually correct. If we look in the scriptures there and look up the word Sabbath, let's say, for example, in Exodus chapter 16, verses 26, we're going to see the word Sabbath there. The word Sabbath is derived from Shabbat, which is how we pronounce Sabbath. And what it really means is to cease, to stop. But it also has a cousin that is the word seven or seventh, which is where we get the Hebrew word Shaviah. And so the Sabbath has to be the seventh day. And on the seventh day, according to the Bible, on the seventh day, the Lord ceased or rested from his work. Not that he had to stop, nothing like that. But still, the word Sabbath just refers to a resting, and it is the seventh day. And then we see also in Leviticus, the Bible talks about how the land is going to also have a Sabbath, which is in this case going to be the seventh year. And so it doesn't have to necessarily be 7 days. It just simply refers to a something on the seventh of something. And there's a rest to it. And so in the case of the Jews, they had to let the land rest on the seventh year or in the seventh year. Interestingly, also in Daniel chapter 9, verse 24, we won't get into the meaning of it, but we see where he says that 70 weeks are decreed. And the word for week is the same as this word Shabuim, which is from the word 70 weeks, or the word weeks. Well, the word week is referred to as 7. And so that should kind of make it clear that the seventh day is the Sabbath, which is, for us, Saturday. And so why would we think that, as some do, that Sunday is the Sabbath? Well, the reason for that is in places like Acts 20 and 7, it says on the first day of the week when they were gathered together to break bread. This was kind of a custom for the church to gather together on the first day of the week. And then we also look in 1 Corinthians 16:2. It says on the first day of the week, each of you is to put something aside and store it up. So the first day of the week when they were gathered together to break bread, this was kind of a custom for the church to gather together on the first day of the week. And then we also look in 1 Corinthians 16:2. It says on the first day of the week, each of you is to put something aside and store it up.
Now let's stop here, brothers and sisters. It's because one of the scriptures, and I've been talking about this for the longest. One of the scriptures that he went to was Acts 16 and Acts 20. I think 1 Corinthians, the 16th chapter, right? In which it does say that on the first day of the week. But what the brother don't understand is that the first day of the week was put in the Bible on purpose by quote-unquote Gentiles to promote sun worship. And we're not talking about the sun that's outside, because the sun is really a beacon of light, right? The sun is probably one of the most powerful energies that's on the planet, right? And the sun that we're talking about, SUN, is the worship system of the Babylonian mystery system, brothers and sisters. And see, this brother right here, which more than likely he's an Israelite, he may not want to accept it, right? But our people is still in captivity under the heathen. So when matter of fact, let's go to Acts the 20th. Matter of fact, 1 Corinthians the 16th chapter, right? Let's go there, and then we're going to expound on what's being said. Let me see. Yeah, 1 Corinthians the 16th chapter, verses 1 and 2. It says, "Now concerning the collection for the saints, as I have given order to the churches of Galatia, even so do ye. Upon the first day of the week, let every one of you lay by him in store, as the Most High have prospered him, that there be no gathering when I come." So basically, what are they saying? They're saying that there should be no work being done. It's because they're acknowledging Sunday as the first day of the week. But we got to understand something, brothers and sisters. When the nation of Israel, if they was walking around with Bibles in their hand, which they didn't have it back then, the concept of the Bible was established by heathens, right? But let's say, for argument's sake, that they will be walking around with Bibles in their hand. What Bible would they have? Because when Paul and them is talking, when they're talking, there's no New Testament, brothers and sisters. When Paul and them is talking like this, there's no New Testament. So if Paul is acknowledging the fact that Sunday is a Sabbath just as well, then Paul is he's really anti-Most High. Is because let's see what the Creator established. And the Christian brother, he knows this. But there's a reason why they're doing this, brothers and sisters. Let's look at this. Genesis, the first chapter. Let's see if we can get it. One second, because I want to make a point. Matter of fact, I start at 2. All right, so Genesis, the second chapter, and I'm going to start reading verses 1 and 2. It says, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all host of them. And on the seventh day, Yah, or Elohim, ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Yah blessed the seventh day and sanctified it." So the Hebrew word for sanctified really goes into the word which is Kodash. So that means holy, set aside. So the Sabbath was established in the second chapter and the first chapter of the book of Genesis, right? So why would the Creator change this? Why would the Creator change something like that? And now he's going to establish. So now we're going to bring in Sunday, the first day of the week, as a new Sabbath, brothers and sisters. We gotta think. See, and this is what a lot of our people see. We're not thinking because we're listening to every word of the slave master. Let's look at this, right? Let's turn to Matthew, the 4th chapter. 1 second. Matthew, the 4th chapter, the 1st verse. Then Yahshua was led up of the Spirit. What spirit was he led of? The Spirit of Yah. See, the one that was with Moses in the burning bush, into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. Why is that? Because Yahshua, who we call Jesus, he had to do what? He had to conquer the mindset of good and evil. See, because this brother here is really, he's a minister for the Catholic Church. Because the Christians are nothing but Catholics. They celebrate Christmas. They deal with Easter. They established the January the 1st as the new year. See? They dealing with all this stuff. All this stuff is contrary to the Creator, but it has been associated with Israel's history because of Constantine. See? It's because Constantine is nothing but a reincarnation of what you would call Nimrod in the earth, establishing the old Babylonian mystery system, brothers and sisters. So you can't be listening to these people. So it says, and when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward hungry. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the son of Elohim, command that these stones be made bread. And he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yah. Then the devil take him up into the holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said unto him, if thou be the son of Yah, cast thyself down, for it is written, and he shall give his angels charge over thee now he says, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against the stone. See? So what is this? You got to understand that the adversary knows scripture just as well. See? It's because the adversary is sitting on the throne looking like the Creator. And see, a lot of us, we're going to be deceived in these last days. Let's look at another scripture. Let's turn to Isaiah, the 7th chapter. Is that Isaiah, the 7th chapter and 14? Let me see. No, not this one. Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14, and I'm going to start at the 12th verse. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? See? And when it's talking about that, it's really talking about how the adversary was in the mindset of the Babylonians when he came in and he ransacked what? Jerusalem. And see, he didn't just ransack Jerusalem. See, he conquered the world at that time. See, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yah. And who is the stars? It's the nation of Israel, because these are the people that he's conquering. And I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation and the sides of the north, and I will ascend above the heights of the cloud, and I will be just like the Most High. So you got a lot of these folks that is sitting out here and they listening to a lot of these preachers, these leaders in the neighborhood, and they're thinking that they're worshiping the Creator, but in actuality, they not. And this brother is nothing but a representative of the old Babylonian mystery system. See, they want to bring in the virgin birth. All this type of stuff has nothing to do with our history from a righteous standpoint of view. So let's look at this. Let's see something real quick. Let's turn to Matthew. This is where they get the concept of Sunday worship, brothers and sisters. Let's look at this. Matthew 28:1. In the end of the Sabbath, comma. Now, when they talking about the end of the Sabbath, brothers and sisters, what are they saying? They're talking about the 27th chapter of the book of Matthew. As it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. Now, in actuality, brothers and sisters, there's nothing wrong with them. If you let's think let's think hypothetically, right? Let's say that because this is talking about 3 days and 3 nights, right? Let's say that the Passover comes in first, the Feast of Unleavened Bread comes in second, and the Sabbath comes in third, right? Because the 28th chapter of the book of Matthew is denoting the Sabbath. This is why the Christians go to the church every day, is because they believe because the Messiah rose on the first day of the week, that basically this is considered a holy day just as well, but I'm going to prove that it's wrong. So it says, in the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. Now, the concept of the first day of the week doesn't start in the book of Acts, the 16th chapter, nor in 1 Corinthians, the 16th chapter, and Acts, the 20th chapter. It does not start there. See, it's going to really start. It's really going to start in the 26th chapter of the book of Matthew, because one of the reasons why the Christians promote Easter so tough is because they saying that Easter is the Passover. Why are they saying Easter is the Passover? It's because Easter represents Sunday worship, brothers and sisters. That's why they saying this. So when we go back to the 26th chapter of the book of Matthew at the 17th verse, this is the church, the Catholic Church, promoting Good Friday. Why you say that, Yahshua? I'm going to show you. Let's look at this. It says, now the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the disciples came to Yahshua, saying unto him, where wert thou that we prepare to eat the Passover? Now we got to understand, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Passover is before the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So why do they have it styled this way? The reason why they have it styled this way is because the church was using the Feast of Unleavened Bread as Good Friday. And the Passover is going to be what you would call the first day of the week, brothers and sisters. Because remember, he's supposed to be sitting down or what they would call the Last Supper. He's supposed to be eating the Passover and things of this nature, right? But the Passover is supposed to denote basically his destruction, because when he gets through eating the Passover and stuff like that, then he's apprehended by, quote unquote, the Pharisees. But see, I'm going to prove all things. Let's look at Acts, the 12th chapter. Acts 12. I'm going to go 12 and 4. Now this is Peter, right? It says, and when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to the 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him intended after Easter, to bring him forth to the people. Now, what did the church today call Easter? The church today call Easter Passover, brothers and sisters. Why do they call Easter Passover? They call Easter Passover is because the Messiah rose supposedly on the first day of the week. That's in the 28th chapter of the book of Matthew. So when we go back to the 26th chapter of the book of Matthew, right? When they have the Feast of Unleavened Bread before the Passover, symbolically what they doing is they're promoting Good Friday. That's what they doing. Then you have the Messiah being killed on the Sabbath. He going to be put on the cross on the Sabbath. And then the 28th chapter, he's going to, quote unquote, rise from the grave on the first day of the week. So if we see this for ourselves, we shouldn't even follow it. Why are you still following these people? So this dude, the smart Christian, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And what he's doing is he's promoting another Messiah that is contrary to the word of God. So let's look at this. Let's take a look in the dictionary. Let's see something. Check this out. Easter. This is in the Eastern Bible Dictionary in the blue letter. Check this out. And I'm finna read from a dictionary of Easter. This is what the smart guy is talking about. This is what he worship. Matter of fact, let me get it from my dictionary. So it says Easter. Now check this out. Originally a Saxon word. Now who was the Saxons? The Saxons are the children of Japheth, brothers and sisters. That's who the Saxons are. The Anglo-Saxons are the children of Japheth. Originally a Saxon word, Estre, denoting a goddess of the Saxons. So, but the church today is saying that Easter is Passover. Passover is Easter. But why are they doing this? It's because they're worshiping the mother goddess, which is Semiramis, y'all. So this guy sitting up here talking about why they keep Sunday instead of the Sabbath because of 1 Corinthians, the 16th chapter, and Acts, the 20th chapter. This is them teaching another gospel. And Paul told you this. A lot of things that they have Paul and them saying, and Peter, they'd have never said nothing like that, because you got to understand, all these guys, they were Torah-based Israelites. They believed in the Torah. If Paul bringing in Sunday, then what is he doing? Paul he's worshiping another god. It says originally a Saxon word, estre, denoting a goddess of the Saxons, in honor of whom sacrifices were offered about the time of the Passover. So, but when they talking about the Passover, they're not talking about the 14th day or the 14th day of the week. They talking about Sunday. Because Sunday was considered their Passover. Hence the name came to be given to the festival of the resurrection of Christ. So this shows you that this brother, the smart Christian, is worshiping another God, y'all. They telling you this in their writings, which occurred in the time of the Passover. Because every time that Pesach start, here it is, the heathens, they gonna worship what? They gonna worship they gonna worship they high holy days. And what is they high holy day? That's Sunday. That's Easter, which represents the 44th chapter of the book of Jeremiah, the Queen of Heaven. In the early English versions, this word was frequently used as the translation of the Greek Pascha. The Passover, when Authorized Version 1611 was formed, the word Passover was used in all passages which this word Pascha occurred, except in Acts 12 and 4. Why they not doing it? It's because Acts 12 and 4 represents what? Easter Sunday, y'all. So they saying that Peter acknowledged that the Messiah rose on the first day of the week. Let's look at the scripture on that. Daniel 7:25. Daniel 7:25. And he shall speak great words against them all. What is that? They're going to set up a worship system that's contrary to the Creator. That's how they're going to speak great words. So the smart guy is nothing but a Catholic. Christians are Catholics. The nation of Israel did not follow Christianity. Our history has been taken over by the Catholic Church, y'all. That's why you got Christian in the 11th chapter of the book of Acts. This is why you got Easter in the 12th chapter of the book of Acts. No, they got Christian in the 11th chapter of the book of Acts. This is why you got the virgin birth in the Bible, y'all. See? It's because these folks have speaking great words against the Creator. So it says, he shall speak great words against the Most High, shall wear out the saints. Who is the saints? That's Israel. And how they going to wear them out? They going to put them in slavery. We still in slavery even to this day. Because a man that don't control his own country, he don't control his educational system, his leadership, his health. See, he don't have a right to trade with other countries. He don't have a country. He's a slave. See? And we the saints. It's because the saints are supposed to teach the world on how to serve the Creator. These Christians are not doing that. I don't care if they don't curse or they talk with good diction. It don't matter. They are of the synagogues of Satan. That's what they doing. It says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. What are we talking about? This is why the Christians say that we ain't up under the law no more. We ain't worshiping the law of Moses, because they worshiping the adversary. Then when I asked them, can I sleep with your wife? Then they, no, you can't. I thought we weren't up under the law. See, they contradict themselves. They don't do nothing that the Creator tell them to do. The Creator told you, don't deal with no Christmas. You're going to deal with it anyway. The Creator told you don't deal with Easter. You're going to do that anyway. The Creator said, don't follow the gods of Baal and Ashtaroth. You're going to do it anyway because you hard-headed. Let's look at this. It says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and thinks to change times and laws. This is why the world is not keeping the Sabbath anymore, because why? They worshiping the Babylonian mystery system. So the smart Christian is nothing but a Catholic priest. That's all he is. We're going to get him in a minute. Let's look at this. And think to change times and laws, and they should be given into his hand until a time and times and to divide. What is that? That's the 70 weeks of Daniel. Because why? The 70 weeks of Daniel represents the times of the Gentiles. That's what we living in today. Let's look at another thing on Easter. See? Easter. This is in the Young's Bible Dictionary. You can't see it. I'm just reading it. It says Easter, a Teutonic goddess. Now the term Teutonic goes back to basically the Germanic tribes, right? Easter, a Teutonic goddess since the Council of Nicaea in AD 325. The church celebrates the resurrection of Jesus Christ on this day. But who is the one that's establishing this? The reason why he's dealing with this is because of the church of Constantine and them. They didn't follow Israel. They created their own customs, and the customs that they was creating went back to Nimrod and them. There was no celebration of the resurrection in the New Testament. See? Later, the Gentile Christians observed the day on Sunday. Why you changing it? It's because you changed the word of Yah. And the Sabbath don't even come in after the Feast of Unleavened, because you got to keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread 7 days. So where's they getting all this stuff, this 3 days and 3 nights stuff from? It's because all of it is what? Roman Catholicism, brothers and sisters. While the Jewish believers connected it with Passover and celebrated on the 14th of Nisan, following the Council of Nicaea. Easter has been observed on the first day following the full moon after the vernal equinox, varying between March 22nd to April 25th. Because all of that is paganism, y'all. It says, King James Version, Acts 12 and 4 mean Passover. No, it don't. Because it just told you. Matter of fact, let's get it again. Let's turn to Acts 12 and 4. Let's look at this. Easter, originally a Saxon goddess, Estre or Astarte, denoting a goddess of the Saxons. What are they talking about? Because the children of Japheth, they worship the Queen of Heaven also. They just called her by different names. in honor of whom sacrifices were offered about the time of Passover. But they not celebrating Passover. Their Passover was the gods and the goddesses of the Babylonians. That's what they Passover were. And you know what because the Creator always want you to sacrifice the first of your flock, your lamb, or your he goat, right? But what was they sacrificing? They were sacrificing children. That's what they was doing. So this smart Christian dude is nothing but a false prophet, y'all. Hence the name came to be given to the festival of the resurrection. So they the ones that brought this in here. Come on, y'all. They brought it in here. They had nothing to do with the Passover. The Passover is the 14th day of the first month. In the early English versions, this word was frequently used as translation of the Greek Pesach, the Passover. When the authorized version 1611 was formed, the word Passover was used in all passages which this word Pascha occurred except Acts 12 and 4. Why is that? It's because Easter for them was the resurrection or the worship system of Semiramis, because she's the one that's supposed to brought forth a child by the sun god, which is Nimrod, because Nimrod was worshipped as a god. Do you know that these Christians, they worship him even to this day? Most of these Christians are Masons. And see, this smart Christian, he ain't nothing but a low-level Catholic. That's all he is. The Christians are nothing but Catholics. So let's look at something, right? But let's say for argument's sake, let's look at Mark 16 real quick. Let's say for argument's sake, right, that you know, you're gonna start counting 3 days and 3 nights from Good Friday to Easter Sunday. That's not even 3 days. That's a day and a half Jesus. That's not even 3 days and 3 nights. But let's say for argument's sake that you can actually do that. Let's say that the Messiah was on the heart of the ground 3 days and 3 nights. You got to start counting from the Passover. How you going to start counting from the Passover and the Messiah is not even in the ground yet? Because the midst of the week is a day before the Passover. They said they got to kill him. You're going to kill him in the midst of the week. The midst of the week is not the Passover. It's before the Passover. So you got to get them in the ground, and you got to start counting from Passover to the Shabbat. But how you going to do that? When the Feast of Unleavened Bread, you got to keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread for 7 days. They're not coming out their house because they're in the Feast of Unleavened Bread. That's what I'm saying, brothers and sisters. If a lot of this stuff does not coincide with the customs and traditions of the nation of Israel, which is the Torah, you should not be following it. But let's say for argument's sake that the Feast of Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Sabbath. We just saying this for argument's sake. When you going to start? When is the Messiah going to be cut off? I think it's the 9th chapter of the book of Daniel. You got to cut him off before the Passover. You're not going to kill him on the feast days because why? You're going to be breaking the law. So you gotta count from Passover, and then you're going to say, because the evening and the morning is the first day. The evening come in first. But they got it in the Bible that basically Sunday is the first day of the week. No, but you got to start counting from the evening and the morning. So you going to say Passover evening, Passover night, all night Passover, Passover morning, Passover afternoon, all day Passover. The sun goes down. That's going to complete one day because you got 3 dark periods and 3 light periods. Then you're going to say Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread evening, Feast of Unleavened Bread night, all night Feast of Unleavened Bread, Feast of Unleavened Bread morning, Feast of Unleavened Bread afternoon, all day Feast of Unleavened Bread. The sun goes down, that's going to complete 2 days. Because the evening and the morning is the first day, and you got 3 light periods and 3 dark periods. Then you're going to come into the Sabbath. You're going to say Sabbath evening, Sabbath night, all night Sabbath, Sabbath morning, Sabbath afternoon, all day Sabbath. The sun goes down, brothers and sisters. That's going to complete the evening and the morning from 3. That's going to complete what you would call your 3 days and 3 nights. So if the people was to come out and view the body, they would have came out during the evening time. This is the point. So, but in the scripture, it says when the Sabbath was passed, Mark 16:1, when the Sabbath was passed, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, and that's Yeshua's mother, had brought sweet spices that they might come and anoint him. And very early in the morning, first day of the week, they came unto the sepulchre at the rising of the sun. Why is that? It's because the rising of the sun is the promotion of the worship system of Nimrod. See, because Tammuz, which is born on December the 23rd or the 25th, December the 25th, that's where you're going to go. You're going to see it in the book of Maccabees. December the 25th, he was supposed to be the reincarnation of his father. So these folks don't know what they talking about, brothers and sisters. Let's look at this. Luke. Let's look at Luke 22. They the ones that put this garbage in here. They're not coming out Sunday morning. They would have came out because it would have completed a 3-day and 3-night cycle. You can't get 3 days and 3 nights, brothers and sisters, from Good Friday to Easter Sunday. That's a day and a half Jesus. Check this out. Luke 24:1. Now upon the first day of the week, very early in the morning, they came unto the sepulchre to bring spices they had prepared, and certain others with them. Now, this is them promoting Sunday, y'all. Sunday is nothing but the worship system of the Babylonian mystery system. This is why they put Easter in the Bible. They put Easter in the Bible to promote the mother goddess, right? And Nimrod. See? Because Nimrod is supposed to be her son/husband, y'all. That's why in the dictionary they tell you about the Teutonic goddess and all that type of stuff. In the Eastern Bible Dictionary, they say that the Saxons they was worshiping Passover too and all this stuff, but they was pagans. And the Christians are pagans also. So why are you following this? Let's look at this. You're following this because of this. Let's look at this. 2 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. 2 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. See, this who the smart guy is, the smart Christian. Let's look at this. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Hamashiach. This is what we're looking at today. The Christians are in control over our history. They're the ones that's putting certain things. We ain't celebrating no Easter. We didn't worship Yahshua as a God. See? They done changed the concept of the Messiah. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into the angel of light, meaning that what? They thinking that they worshiping the Creator, but in actuality, they worshiping the adversary. Therefore, it is no great thing if his minister also be transformed into the minister of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. So when we see people like Pastor, the smart guy or the smart Christians, this is them transforming themselves, right, into they transforming themselves into the prophets and the ministers of the nation of Israel. That's why they keep telling you that Israel is done away with. So, brothers and sisters, you better pay attention to what you reading. Because these guys here, these are the modern day Pharisees. And you got a lot of our brothers and sisters that's in the knowledge itself. They have taken on that Pharisee nature too.
It
But
became a habit of custom that they began meeting together on the first day of the week for different meetings, for prayer, for fellowship. Well, that's what we do now. And so it's out of what they did that caused us to begin meeting on Sunday. However, Sunday is not the new Sabbath. We're told that we should not cast judgment or let anyone cast judgment on you regarding food or drink, regarding festivals or new moon or a Sabbath, meaning there are going to be some that are going to judge you or have a problem with you going to church on a Sunday rather than a Saturday. We are told, according to this passage in Colossians, don't allow that. However, one thing that's interesting is that we all are going to receive, according to Hebrews, a new Sabbath that is a Sabbath's rest for the people of God. Well, obviously that's speaking of eternity. So now, just to be clear, the Sabbath is a Saturday, and however, one thing that's interesting is that we all are going to receive, according to Hebrews, a new Sabbath that is a Sabbath's rest for the people of God. Well, obviously that's speaking of eternity. So now, just to be clear, the Sabbath is a Saturday, and
check this out. Let's turn to Genesis. Now let's turn to Jeremiah. See, this ain't nothing. He ain't nothing but the devil. Let's look at this. One second. Jeremiah 31 and 27. Behold, the days come, saith Yah, that I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah, the southern and the northern kingdom, with the seed of man. Talking about the nations. See, these nations, they gonna follow the God of Israel. They not following Christmas and Easter. They not doing this. They gonna follow the customs and the traditions that the Most High established with the nation of Israel. They not following Easter. They ain't dealing with Christmas. They ain't dealing with no January the 1st. They not talking about that Easter is the new Passover. They not saying this, right? And it says, and with the seed of beasts, and it shall come to pass that like as I have watched over them to pluck up and to break down and to throw down and to destroy and to afflict, so will I watch over them to build and to plant, saith Yah. Talking about the nation of Israel, because he's the one that plucked us up and threw us amongst these nations. In those days they shall say no more, the fathers have eaten sour grapes. And what is the sour grapes? The sour grapes was the false gods that we was worshiping. And the children's teeth are set on edge. And why they teeth is set on edge is because we was dealing with the curses that was established by us on us by Deuteronomy the 28th chapter. It says, but every one shall die for his own iniquity. Every man that eateth sour grapes, his teeth shall be. So ain't no more, because back then, if one did something wrong, everybody got in trouble. Now you're going to be responsible for yourself. So this brother, the smart guy, he's going to have to, if he don't repent, he's going to have to see the judgment of his actions. Is because what he's doing is, when they celebrate these holidays, symbolically, what are they doing? They are casting their kids to the god of Molech. That's what they doing. And not just the kids, the women and children also. See, a lot of these Christians are nothing but they ain't nothing but the devil, y'all. But every one shall die for his own iniquity, and every man that eateth sour grapes, his teeth shall be on edge. Behold, the day cometh, saith Yah, I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers, that I took them took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith Yah. What was the old? Because the old covenant was on stone, see? But this new covenant is what? It's the spirit, see? That's the spirit. You're going to have to welcome into your life the spirit of divine enlightenment. That's the new covenant. But we suffering from it. It's because, see, we're thinking everything that the quote-unquote King James version of the nation of Israel's history is right. If King James was so much of a righteous man, why would he put Easter in the Bible? You know why he did it? It's because they acknowledge the Catholic Church as the mother church. And this is what these handkerchief head Negroes is doing. They doing the same thing. Ain't gonna be no Sunday worship in this time. Because if you do that's the sour grapes that you're gonna be eating, and you're gonna be destroyed because of that. It says, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yah. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. See? Let's look at one more scripture, and we're going to be done. Let's take this the book of Zechariah. Let's see how many chapters that go to, because this is the last chapter. Yeah, it's the last chapter. 1 second. 1 second. I'm trying to get this. Matter of fact, Zechariah 14 and 16. Let's look at this. And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King of Yah and to keep the feast of tabernacle. What is that? Those are the feast days of the Most High. You ain't keeping no Easter. You ain't dealing with Christmas. You ain't dealing with with Sunday worship, because the Feast of Tabernacle is symbolic of what? The feast days. That's what you're going to keep. It shall be that whosoever will not come up of all families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yah of hosts, and see, you don't even know who God is. Jesus ain't Lord. That's the counterfeit Messiah that you've been preaching. So these guys are nothing but what? The synagogues of Satan. See? The church of Satan. And it shall be that whosoever will not come up of all families of the earth unto Jerusalem and worship the King, Yah of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. Meaning that what? You're going to be destroyed. In order for you to eat, you're going to have to worship the tetragrammaton. That's what you're going to be worshiping. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, then it says, there shall be the plague wherewith Yah will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacle. And what is that? Those are the feast days. Whether we're going to be keeping them as a memorial or whatever we're going to be doing, you're not keeping Easter. You ain't going to be dealing with no Passover. No Christmas. You ain't doing that. And when he talking about Egypt, Egypt is symbolic of what? Of these nations that had the nation of Israel in captivity. Because he said what? I'm going to send you into Egypt again in what? Ships, y'all. Come on, man. See, this brother, y'all better stop listening to him. He don't know what he's talking about. And what he's doing, he ain't doing nothing but misleading the people. Shalom.